Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Firaxis live stream. My name is Pete Murray. I'm going to be your host today. And we have an amazing stream for you today talking about the Civ 6 Leader Pack, our Great Builders Pack, which is coming out. And we have an amazing guest that I'm happy to introduce you guys to today. And I know many of you have joined us because you've seen our recent announcement that the next chapter of Civilization is in development here at Firaxis. And it is, and it's going to be brought to you by Ed Beach, Dennis Shirk, and the rest of the talented people who've brought you Civ before. We're not going to be able to talk about that today. We will be able to talk about that with you, and we're looking forward to that day. But let's meet our amazing guest that we have joining us to talk about the Great Builders today.
Hey Spuddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to Civilization VI Anthology Kita as China's Yongle. Today we're going to be playing as Suleiman as Persia, specifically Nader Shah. My arms are above my head and I am flexing. Morbus, get a Shutterstock image of a man doing that, okay? Looking powerful. Or a woman. Oh my god, a tree is under attack by Khmer. Alright, let's drop the bomb. WMD strike, declare war. Here she comes. Let's turn off the UI. Really enjoy this one. I love the smell of uranium in the morning. Ah, brilliant. So that should be a wrap on that. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
And our very special guest today is the one, the only, the famous PotatoMcWhiskey, joining us from the internet. Thank you so much for coming out today.
Thank you guys so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure to meet all of the Civ developers and check out the really cool studio here. It's been amazing. Can I have permission to do a Heeeey Spuddies?
Please.
Heeeey Spuddies! PotatoMcWhiskey here.
And we are so happy to have you here. And playing today is the one, the only, Carl Khan, the one who salts the earth to take vengeance over his enemies. Carl, thanks for coming out to play with us today.
Always my pleasure. Happy to be here.
So we've got the Great Builders, and they are going to be our next leaders for the Leader Pass this year. Let's take a look at their first look video.
Theodora, Sejong, and Ludwig II lead the Great Builders in Sid Meier's Civilization VI. Daughter of a circus bear trainer, Theodora was a former actress turned empress and royal advisor to Emperor Justinian. She guided Byzantine policies towards greater rights for women. Theodora's agenda is the New Rome, which influences her to prefer other civilizations with high culture. Theodora's unique ability is Restorer of Icons, which grants holy sites culture equal to their adjacency bonus. Farms also provide a faith adjacency bonus to hippodromes and holy sites. As Theodora turned fertile plains into culture and religion for high-population cities, then spread her orthodoxy far and wide. If converting the world doesn't end in a religious victory, a culture victory will be well within her grasp. While Theodora's story is the quintessential rags to riches, Ludwig's story was a Gothic fairy tale. The Swan King Ludwig II ruled the German state of Bavaria as a poet and a dreamer. He was often quoted as saying, "I wish to remain an eternal enigma to myself and others." His agenda is Eternal Enigma, which influences him to prefer civilizations that do not keep the maximum number of districts in a city. Ludwig's unique leader ability is Swan King, which grants culture to wonders that are adjacent to districts, even if they are unfinished. Don't let your dreams stay dreams with Ludwig. Place as many wonders near his districts as possible to maximize the culture adjacency bonuses granted, regardless if you plan on finishing them or not. All culture adjacency bonuses provide tourism after discovering castles. As Ludwig dreams of fabulous fictions, Sejong grasps the gradual realization of the Great Ultimate. Sejong the Great was a ruler of Korea during the Joseon dynasty. During his rule, he implemented a standard currency and invented a new alphabet, the Hangul. His agenda is Neo-Confucianism, which influences him to dislike civs that are ahead of him in science and culture. Sejong's unique leader ability is Hangul, which grants culture equal to double his science per turn whenever he first completes a technology from a new era. As Sejong, mine Seowans for science and use the boost from discovering a new tech to unlock cultures like natural philosophy and rationalism to further enhance his science output. Be it through faith, fortitude, or flights of fancy, how will you build your way to victory in Civilization VI?
So before we jump in, Potato, I got some questions for you. You are one of our favorite creators. So how did you come to become a content creator?
Well, I always knew I wanted to play video games as a living, and I didn't really know how I was going to do that. And way back in the day when YouTube was fairly new, I wanted to be a YouTuber and make a living doing that. But a lot of my friends were like, oh, it's not very cool. Maybe you shouldn't do that. And then I got, it was a few years ago, I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And I just treated it like a full-time job from the second I started. And after about 3 years, it was paying like a full-time job. So I was happy enough to keep going.
Nice. And then you could go back to your friends and you could be like, do you enjoy being wrong? Because I have now, demonstrated that you are wrong.
Yes, exactly. It was a huge flex moment for me, and I'm very happy.
It's a cultural victory. So, but Civilization is kind of how we got a chance to meet you and come to you come to our attention. But how did you learn about Civ? Or how did you decide you were going to start playing Civ?
So I think I was a teenager, and I was browsing the Steam store, and I would only get like a few euro to buy games. And I think it was Civ 4 was like on a huge discount, and I was like, I'm going to buy that. And I played quite a bit of it. And then Civ 5 came out shortly after that, and then I was like, this is just an awesome game. And I played Beyond Earth, and then I started my YouTube channel right as Civ 6 started. So I just perfectly hit the moment.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is to forward settle the Civ 6 streamer and content creators and
100%. Yeah,
that's the way it goes. Civ 4, when I first came to Firaxis, my boss at the time handed me Civ 4 and all of the Civilization 4 expansion packs that she put on my desk. She was like, I think you need to play these. And I was like, yeah, this job is pretty good. So a question from chat, how tall are you? So I'm 6'7", so how tall are you? No.
Well, if you're 6'7", I'm probably 6'9".
Yeah.
No, I'm actually exactly 6 foot. Well, I suppose if I have my shoes off on if it's the end of the day, I'm 5'11", but I say 6 foot anyway. You got to have that little bump.
No, you're entitled to it. You're entitled to it. Somebody who is not quite as tall as Potato is the first leader that we're going to look for in today's stream. Let's take a look at Theodora of the Byzantines.
The wife of Justinian, the Emperor of Byzantium, Theodora rose from obscurity to be a power behind, or rather beside, the throne, in one of the most productive and impressive moments in Constantinople's history. She was born in poverty and was an actress in a burlesque show when she caught the eye of the emperor, where the laws of the country altered so that he could marry her. At Justinian's side, Theodora saw the Hagia Sophia built, at least in its present form, and Byzantium having instituted a comprehensive code of laws, ushering in a new golden age. Theodora herself remained committed to her principles, working for the elevation and protection of disadvantaged women within the empire, and holding steadfast to her Miaphysite Christian beliefs in opposition to her husband's endorsement of Chalcedonian Christianity. Divisions that may seem very distant today, but which divided the empire for much of early Byzantine history. In other words, Theodora had grit and backbone. She had causes that she believed in and worked towards them even under dire threat. This can best be seen in her advice to her husband. As Constantinople was being torn apart by rioters, Justinian prepared to flee the city. Theodora stopped him, noting his royal purple cloak and saying, "Purple is the noblest shroud." In other words, it is better to die now, today, true to who you are and with your pride intact, than to flee in shame.
So we're here to look at Theodora of the Byzantines, and having gotten her history, let's take a look at some of her features and abilities. So, Potato, what is she going to play like?
In general or specifically? Well, I suppose her metanoia ability, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong because I never get it right, it gives you culture based on the adjacency bonus of your holy sites, and farms provide faith adjacency to hippodromes and holy sites, which gives her a really, really strong faith and culture game, which leans super heavily into a culture victory. But faith is kind of a versatile yield, as is culture, so you can kind of make it work for almost anything. But I think she still gets those heavy cavalry units with the hippodrome, so she can kind of do a pretty heavily war-based play.
She does, yes. While she does get heavy cavalry units with the hippodrome, they are not Tagmas. Tagma is a unique unit specific to Basil II, the first leader that we released for the Byzantine Empire. So that is missing from Theodora's ability, but yes, she does get the Hippodrome free units, and she does have the Taxis ability, so she can get that combat bonus, go out and attack people, spread religion that way, and she's still very effective at doing that, particularly if you do something like the Crusade Belief.
Yes, although her heavy cavalry don't do full damage to walls like Basil's do. She's missing that ability as well.
Yep.
But a night timing attack is still a really strong time to hit another player.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into the game, and as we're doing that, we got a question from Tyrannus Rex 16 on Twitch. Mr. Tater, do you have a favorite leader, past leader among these three or others?
Ooh, among these three, it's definitely got to be Ludwig, just because his ability is so crazy powerful and it completely changes how you play the game. When it comes to like the overall pass, I suppose I would say in terms of power level, Yongle, he's just like crazy powerful, super fun to play. But if you were asking me like who's my favorite to play, it's probably Caesar, because you get all that gold from, you know, killing the barbarian camps. So that would, that's kind of how I feel.
Carl, what about you? Do you have a favorite?
Ludwig is definitely my favorite from the Great Builders pack. He's incredible, and I'm looking forward to showing him off later this stream.
Yeah. All right, so tell us, actually, one of the things I want to point out is under economic policies, you've got scripture for 100% holy site adjacency bonus. So talk a little bit about how people are going to see this in today's game today.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we saw with Theodora's leader ability, she gets culture equal to the adjacency of the holy site. So that does get boosted along with the faith of the holy site from the scripture policy. And we'll take a look at that on our holy sites in just a moment. First, I'm going to slot in the serfdom policy down here in our wildcard slot, because we want to build as many farms as possible, since those boost both the holy site and our hippodrome, the unique district that's a replacement for the entertainment complex. So by giving our builders extra charges, we'll be able to build more farms with each one. So go ahead and confirm that. And then let's take a look at these holy sites. So our capital here, Constantinople, has a beautiful holy site with a 5 adjacency with scripture that becomes 10. So we're getting 10 faith, and because of Theodora, we're getting 10 culture. And then we've also picked the work ethic religious belief today. So we are getting 10 production from this as well, for some fantastic yields off of every single holy site.
So, James, how is this going to equate into how you play out Theodora as you're going this? We were talking earlier about the importance of getting production from farms.
Yes, so that's one of the most unique things that a leader can do, is to break a rule in Civ. And normally, farms just give you food, but there's a couple of leaders that kind of break that rule, right? You've got the Incan terrace farms, they give you production if you have aqueducts next to them. Yep. Some farms give you faith. So the fact that you can build something that gives you more population, as well with the work ethic belief, you can get up to 2 production per farm. That's like having a apprenticeship, it's a industrialization mine or apprenticeship mine, because plus 2 production is like a lot of production, and you're getting the food on top, so you're going to be able to place down your districts earlier, you're going to be able to place down more districts, you're going to have insane culture. She's going to have really, really strong tempo, particularly for culture, which is probably the most important thing if you want to hit certain milestones like serfdom.
So Hogtastic from Twitch asks, does the faith yield from the farms go to the holy site and then get boosted?
Yes, because it's an adjacency bonus, the faith is actually on the district, and any adjacency bonuses are affected by the scripture card, which also includes, I believe, there's a great person that gives you science based on your adjacency.
Yeah, I can't remember who that is.
I can't remember the name either, but if we get them, that would be a fantastic
thing. Awesome.
We'd go from 30 yield per holy site to 40. Actually, down here, we have a 12, it's a +6, but a 12 total because we're right next to Mount Vesuvius there, so we get that natural wonder boost as well.
I do feel like the Civ community, like the most exciting thing they get about is like when a number gets over 10, when it's a district adjacency.
Absolutely.
Like I've seen like a 14 on an industrial zone and people go wild for that. It's like the best part of the game.
Well, I mean, there's a whole subreddit associated with like the biggest possible yields that you can get from things. And I feel like if you can't get excited about a 10 yield, district, really check your pulse. You've lost the love of Civ.
Yeah, for sure. Like yields have become like the thing that Civ is known for. I got roasted in the comment section of one of my videos earlier, where it's like the template to making a PotatoMcWhiskey video. it's like post a picture of like really high yield start location or like a really high yield district, and then like a clickbait title.
I don't think That seems mean. That seems mean, and I'm disappointed in those people.
I think they meant it in good, in good fun.
In good fun, yeah. So you're going to take Theodora and you're going to try to push her in the direction of a culture victory.
I think so. I think there's two directions that she fits really comfortably into. It's either as a culture victory or as a domination victory, because she does still have that Taxis ability. But I think the problem with her version of a domination, I think she's better off at killing like one neighbor and then using the combat bonus to like keep spreading her religion, which might translate into something like cross-cultural dialogue to get you extra culture, or I think it's holy community or something like that gets you science. Those are kind of the ways I think she's going to play. But I think faith is such a flexible yield. It's like easily one of the best yields in the game for flexibility, because you can buy units with monumentality, you can get settlers and builders. She really does have like a wide open game for how she can play.
Interesting. And like you were saying earlier, a well-timed night rush right in the middle of the medieval era is quite a good way to catch a neighbor who's napping and, you know, take over their spots.
Big time, especially because she can actually pre-build the hippodrome, leave it on one turn, and then the second she researches knights, finish them all the same turn, you get knights the turn you unlock it. Nobody's prepared for that, like ever.
Nice. That sounds good. So, Carl, what are you doing right now?
I'm currently building a hippodrome. I'm debating, however, whether or not we should go ahead and finish this, because we will get a free mounted unit, but we have actually not researched knights yet.
Okay.
We are a little ways off from doing so. So we've got 5 turns left on apprenticeship, and then we have 7 turns after that for knights. So I think we should just go ahead and finish it now, just because we'd be waiting a long time. So we'll pop those off, especially we've got barbarians attacking us over here, and so we could move those across and maybe defend ourselves a little bit.
Gotcha. So we got a couple of questions coming in. We've got Trina Wise, Trina's from YouTube is asking, will the adjacency yield get removed if the farm is pillaged?
Yes. So we actually had that happen down here. So this holy site is a +6. I could have shown that off. We've been gotten that just a moment earlier, but I just repaired this literally this turn. So this would have gone down by 1, down by 2 because of the scripture policy. So it would have been a 10, but I repaired this, and so it's back up to a 12.
Okay. And Great Knight Jay on Twitch asks, does Theodora's holy site culture translate to tourism at all?
Ooh, I don't think there's a mechanic in the game because they're districts, not tile improvements, so they wouldn't get translated at flight. I'm pretty sure that's true. We might need to get fact-checked on that, though.
Yeah, no, I think you're correct.
All right, great. So near term, Carl, it cannot get improved by the addition of flight. So that's we're getting confirmation from the control room. Thank you. And for that, I'd like to thank Sean Wilson, our QA person extraordinaire, the preparer of this save, the understudy of Carl, who will no doubt one day assassinate Carl in his sleep and assume the rightful mantle of overlord of all things multiplayer. What's your sort of medium-term strategy here? That is a terrible deal.
Oh, I'm gonna take this.
What?
Yes, we don't actually need them right now for what we're doing because our units are free. We're getting them from the hippodrome. And getting that three gold for 30 turds, that's quite good. So I'm going to go ahead and take that because we're going to need the gold. And again, I'll go ahead and take that. We're going to need the gold to be able to upgrade our units once we do unlock knights.
All right. I don't like trading horses.
I always love trading away strategic resources, especially if they're not my neighbor, because they'll just go use that on someone else.
That's true. This is why you're the better player than I am, for sure. So. All right, so we're repelling this horse rush that's coming at Ankara here. What else is on your agenda for the medium term here, Carl?
Well, we're going to need a target to attack here, I think. We do have that Taxis ability. We want to spread our religion by attacking other players' units. So I think we need to pick a target and go for it.
All right, and what would be your target of choice?
What do you think?
Well, let's have a look. Who are your neighbors and how close and how far are they? Oh, you've got actually.
So over here we have Egypt.
Do they have a religion? Do they have a holy city?
They do not have a religion in their capital. Let's see here.
I think if you click on the religion screen, you can peek and see who has founded a religion and who hasn't.
That's right. Yeah, there's only 3 up right now. So this one.
China.
is China, and this one is Arabia.
Yeah, so if you could find China or Arabia, they're probably your best target. Although, if the green player to your east is close enough, they might be your target.
And that is Arabia,
That is
so we
Arabia,
can
yeah.
convert them.
That's your target, I feel.
All right, well, we're already sending our mountain units that way, so we can continue that.
So how are you going to build out in Cairo? Oh, he just settled. Oh, he gave you another city.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect.
I'm building a campus there right now. We did just lose our holy site, unfortunately. Let me go ahead and switch into Divine Right here. Or excuse me, Monarchy, which comes from Divine Right.
That's right.
It's Divine Right.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and do... we do not have the mercenaries policy yet, so we're going to go ahead and do chivalry.
While you're looking at that, Lou Honey from YouTube asks, which new leader is your favorite in terms of the history of the person?
Ooh, that's actually a really good question. I think it's got to be Ludwig again, just because he's such a unique and interesting character. You know, with all the building stuff he did, and his reputation for being...
Eccentric.
Yes, exactly.
I like Ramses. I was on the stream with Andrew, and we were talking about, you know, the importance of the New Kingdom and his contributions to the Egypt that we think we know, and it's just, he's just such a fascinating character. I think he's one of my favorites in terms of that. Carl, what about you?
Yeah, and I am definitely a fan of Ludwig. I think that he's a ton of fun to play, and I'm already a big fan of Germany with Frederick Barbarossa. I think that he fits my playstyle very, very well, and so having something that feels familiar but is definitely a different take on things is a lot of fun for me.
And we will get to him later on in the course of the stream. So let's...
Who's that great person you just got?
yeah.
So this is one that gives us Eurekas from the medieval and Renaissance, so I'm actually really hoping that we're going to get boosted here.
Exploration.
Metal casting and military tactics, so not what we needed, unfortunately.
Sad.
Unlucky.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Gonna keep pushing forward here, try to get to those knights. We've got 2 turns left until we have an arena, 1 turn left down here for a hippodrome.
Are you going to have enough money to upgrade all those chariots?
I'm hoping.
Yeah. You might want to, maybe, I guess 2 or 3 I think you can manage.
We're also going for mercenaries, so that will give us the professional army policy so that we have a discount on the unit upgrade.
That's true, and that's like super key because a timing attack's super reliant on gold. In fact, I would, if I was playing the game, I'm not going to tell you how to do your job, Carl. I would maybe start trading for more gold.
Well, we can. I think that those horse deals depleted us there. We do have iron that we could use.
Do you need your iron to actually upgrade your horses, though?
Let's see. I don't actually recall off the top of my head.
I think you do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep, 20 each, so we're going to need the iron. We're going to not buy any more tiles, even though I would like to get more farms here.
Because you need to keep that gold
We do
in
need
the
to keep
bank.
gold.
Could you consider maybe chopping a copper or a maize?
We could. I improved this actually first, and that boosted apprenticeship. So we just finished the last 2 turns on apprenticeship because I built the mine on the copper there, but now that that's done, I'm going to remove that and chop it.
Ooh, I like that move.
So, Carl, chat wants to know if you actually do like potato, or if it's just professional rivalry and you're just
This
being...
potato or potatoes? That question is not
Mr.
clear.
McWhiskey.
Oh, yes, of course.
thought it was...
No,
okay.
we get along great, yeah. It's not just professional courtesy.
Okay, all right,
At least
good.
I don't
Good.
think
I hope
it
that
is.
satisfies.
No, it's a definite, like, we're not like the best friends in the world, but I think, you know, we could hang out
Yeah, absolutely.
and have a good time together.
I understand you guys did spend some time.
We did. We
did.
had a great time hanging out, and there might be more information on that later.
All right, let's get another hippodrome up. Beautiful spot here, +4.
Awesome. So about how many turns off from a well-timed attack on Arabia do you think we are at this point?
I'm not exactly sure. We do, we'll advance the turn here and see how many turns we have left on getting our knights, and then we will need to upgrade them and move them down. But I think we will have 3, if not 4 knights at that point. And this does not have walls, and their capital does not have walls. So I think we're actually in pretty good space in terms of getting it up and running.
Yeah, I feel like this is like we're within 10 turns of being able to declare war, which maybe you should think about denouncing as well, so you get that slightly better war.
Good point. We do not have celestial navigation, so I can't actually embark my units.
Oh no. I always love seeing their reactions to the announcements.
Yeah.
They always look so disappointed in you.
They were fun to write, and writing those was always really interesting.
So we're going to chop these forests over here, try to get some extra production to finish that hippodrome.
Very nice. Yeah, I think
Remove this.
getting those knights out now, especially because you have copper to chop. I almost said chopper.
Technically not incorrect in this case.
Because you almost have, you have copper to chop. I think you're going to have a lot of gold to get those knights up. You might struggle for iron, but you have a couple of iron mines coming in, I think.
So, Potato, Adams D86 from YouTube wants to know, if you were a leader, what would your abilities be?
Ooh, now that's actually a really tough one. I think it would have to be...
All right, what kind of victory would you be tailored for?
Oh, I would definitely be tailored towards culture, but I feel like my ability would be geared towards tile yields. Like, because that's my favorite way to play the game, is like things like preserves. Oh yeah, it would be a preserve-based agenda, I think, because that's actually one of my favorite districts.
Okay.
So it would be, here's what it is. Preserve bonuses apply to the whole city. I think that would be...
Ooh.
Yeah, modders, someone out there, make that happen, please.
Ooh, spicy. So, what civilization are you leading?
Potatopia, I believe, or Ireland. We could do Ireland.
Okay, all right. Modders, get on it. It's there.
Oh, an existing one? Oh, I'd probably just pick Gaul because they're fun.
That's a good. Actually, there's some good synergy there.
Yeah, there's
That would be
interesting things you can do.
Yeah. All right. Modders, you have your marching orders. Let's go for it from there. All right, well, let's give this another turn or two. You're getting those pieces down. I don't think we're going to be able to get through the complete conquest of Arabia, unfortunately, because we do have some other cool leaders to show off, but it's been neat to see this unfold. Oh, she doesn't like you.
No, she does not.
She's giving you the finger guns too.
Well, she thinks you're, she doesn't like the fact that you've got plans going, so. Oh, but Cleopatra likes you, so that's always a plus.
That's the thing, it's like, you always end up with like a couple of civs liking you and a couple of civs hating you. I always feel like I'm having a really good game if I can see the little green smiley face next to everybody's name, because I'm like, perfect, I'm gonna be left alone. I can play my own game. I don't have to worry about people declaring war on me or having to go to war because someone forward settled me.
Yeah. Nice.
Did you just take monumentality there?
I did just take monumentality there.
That is massive. So are you gonna start cranking out builders and settlers?
We can use that faith to purchase some builders and purchase some settlers. We have a ton of land to our south here that we could settle. A lot of it is desert, but there's still some really good stuff below that.
Petra City.
Yeah, and we could do a Petra City. And then there's a river over here. So I think that is exactly what I would do if we played this save out a little bit further. But I'm going to continue to focus on as much knight progress here as possible before we have to move on to our next leader.
Unfortunately, it is time for us to move on to our next leader. So we will talk about a leader who does get some amazing things as we move into a new era. So let's take a moment and let's talk about our next ruler, Sejong of Korea.
Sejong the Great was born Idol, the fourth ruler of the Joseon dynasty and one who laid the foundations of Korean society for generations to come. Sejong was a consummate Confucian, emphasizing the role of bureaucracy, meritocracy, and good governance in the rulership of Joseon. This devotion opened up social mobility, extending civil service not just to nobles, but to all who could prove their skill and competence. His other legacies extend to currency reform, social welfare, the establishment of the scientific scholars of the Jade Hall, among others. But what Sejong was best known for was the development of the Korean writing system. Previously, like Japan, Vietnam, and minority languages of China, places that adopted Chinese script had no means for writing effectively in the local vernacular. Hangul, the system developed under Sejong, allowed for spoken Korean to be written as Korean, a move that further opened up the literary world to those who did not have the time or background sufficient for the long and complicated study of Chinese script and the long and complicated way that one might render Korean in Chinese characters. Sejong is often referenced as the best-loved monarch in Korean history, a person who built the engines of civil society for Korea's long and steady struggle to remain independent and prosperous.
And returning from Civilization V is Sejong. Returning to Korea, Potato, tell us about what our new Korean ruler is going to be like.
So the new Korean ruler has the Hangul ability, which is, I think, named after the Korean alphabet.
It is?
or language. But the ability gives you double your science per turn as culture when you research your first technology from a new era, which has huge potential to slingshot you through the culture tree, even if you're going for a science game. People might be familiar with this ability. It kind of is reminiscent of Poland's ability from Civ 5, which is kind of why I really like this ability. I always liked when you enter a new area, you get a cool new bonus. It gives you that tempo. Maybe you unlock a new card, you unlock a new government. I think there's a lot of potential for this here, especially because you are essentially, again, converting one yield into another type of yield. And you've already got all of Korea's other bonuses. You are missing the governor promotion bonuses, but I think Korea has a lot of potential as a civ to be really powerful for a science victory.
Yeah, and it plays a little bit similarly to Sun Duck as well, who is our other leader for the Korean Empire. You were talking about how she has governor bonuses, but those are for both science and culture. And so here you are also getting science and culture at the same time. So it's similar in that regard. But here you're focusing solely on science, and that gives you that culture, which is a really unique twist on it.
And Sean Wilson did point out to me that this is a ruler who needs a little more micro than you might expect, because you're really trying to optimize that first tech coming through.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to want to get your tech or your boost ready, set all of your citizens working in your specialist slots in your campuses, make sure you're optimizing, maybe even running campus research grants to optimize the science in your cities, and then trigger that bonus, get a huge burst of culture, hit a particular milestone. This is going to be a civ that works really well for people who like to optimize and place their citizens exactly where they want them to go.
And Civilization players certainly like their optimization. So
Yes, they do.
Yeah. All right. So tell us about this game that we got going on right now, Carl.
All right, so right now we are in the ancient era, and we are going to be moving into classical. So here in just a little bit, we'll be finishing the masonry tech, and then we'll have our opportunity to pick our first classical era tech, which will give us that nice boost of culture. We're currently making 11.9 science. We're going to see what we can do to boost that before then. We already have our unique campus district up with one mine that's giving us a science here. We're going to see if we can add in a couple of other mines before we finish that technology.
Yeah, those mines are going to be really key to boosting up the power of the Seowon, because it doesn't actually get adjacency bonuses like normal districts do.
Right.
So the only way to keep pumping up your science as Korea is to either be getting specialists in those districts using the extra food from farms adjacent to your Seowons, or using the mines adjacent to your Seowons.
It's an interesting arrangement of cities here. You've got a lot of...
Well, we have Giant's Causeway down here, which is an absolutely fantastic natural wonder. It gives your units that move adjacent to it a +5 combat strength bonus for the rest of the game, or the rest of their life if they don't last that long.
Right.
So we came down here and settled. We also get we get culture for every tile adjacent to that wonder, so we get a lot of extra culture here as well. So it was a really crucial pickup, particularly because right here we have Theodora of Byzantium, who we were just playing in the previous save, and we didn't want her to grab it because Theodora with Spear of Fion would not be fun. So that was an important grab, and now we're going to come down and settle on this river in between.
So, Potato, we got a question from YouTube. What is your favorite historical event?
Ooh, favorite historical event. So, there's a really interesting religious cult that happened in a place called Munster in Germany. Yeah, that one is like a super interesting moment in history. Reading the accounts about it and the goings on. Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite ones, just because it's the kind of story you could tell someone and they'd be like, there's no way this is true.
It's some seriously wacky stuff. That's actually one of Ed Beach's favorite historical moments too.
Really?
Yeah, Ed is a big Renaissance history buff, and it factors into some of the board games that he's played. It's the Anabaptist overtaking Munster is one of his dark events that you have to kind of play around.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I think it's if you're interested in a kind of dark moment in history that's kind of really interesting, I would recommend looking into that.
Yeah. Really interesting is somewhat underselling it.
Yes.
I just want to be clear that
Really.
you're kind of underplaying it.
Yeah,
so,
big time.
Carl, what have you got going on?
All right, so we just got our first government here, so I'm going to take a look at what we have in terms of city-states to decide what policy we want there. There's one that does not have an envoy yet, but we're a little bit away from getting our next envoy, so I'm going to go ahead and slot in, oops, wrong button.
Yeah.
That's not
Hit
closing.
the X is right there. Click the X.
So we're going to go ahead and do a different policy. We're going to do charismatic leader.
Okay.
Ooh, that's the nice default safe choice. I like that
Right.
one.
And then we're going to put in production for builders so we can get some more builders up and running to try to get those farms and mines up for our unique campus. And what do you think for our last policy slot here?
Well, I would say you're either going to want God King for that trickle of resources, or if you're going to build units, a military card, or if you're going to buy tiles to improve, then it would be the land surveyors. It's very rare you get an opportunity to plug in land surveyors because there's usually better stuff.
I think now's the right time for it.
Yeah, because I think in a few turns you're going to get access to the double adjacency on campuses, and so you're never going to get a chance to plug in land surveyors again.
Yep.
Cool. So Multivitamin from YouTube asks, Potato, what is your favorite world wonder?
Ooh, it's got to be the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Just every time, I don't know what it is, but coastal cities, it's you taking like really low quality land and then building it up into something. You know, you place down the harbor, then you get the lighthouse and all the food yields go up, and then you place down the mausoleum, you get the culture, the science, and the faith, then you get the shipyard, it's a bit of production. If Auckland's in the game, it's another 2 production, then you hit the late game, you get the seaport, it's plus 2 gold in every tile, and it's like you see that progression of every water tile in that city just slowly becoming insanely overpowered.
Yeah.
So yeah, the mausoleum hands down is like my favorite wonder.
Oh. Carl, what about you?
I have a soft spot for Ruhr Valley. Like I said, I'm a big Germany player normally, and not only is the flavor there, but the synergy is there with all of the production bonuses, so that's definitely a favorite one of mine.
I feel like that's a good choice.
It is a good choice.
Ruhr Valley is like one of those classic ones. The best one, I think, the combo is the Ruhr Valley in a Petra city, because that just becomes so...
I've never been able to pull that off.
Really?
It's a lot of fun when you get it.
Yeah, it's like every tile becomes insane in that city.
Is it Mausoleum of Halicarnassus or is it the Venetian Arsenal?
You know what? Okay, Venetian Arsenal is a meme. I never build it. Someone is trolling you right now.
They may be. And I'd like to congratulate you on having had me troll Dale. So thank you very much. I like the history of the Venetian Arsenal. I think it is a cool historical wonder. Like the history of it is really cool. When you think about what it means when it's built, it's kind of amazing. So I'll defend the Venetian Arsenal.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, if I'm ever going to Venice, it won't be for a romantic holiday. It's because I'm going to see the Venetian Arsenal.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. If I ever go to Venice, it's because I'm going to go listen to music in St. Mark's Cathedral. That's that's my weakness.
That's
All
a great find right there. Libraries provide +1 science, instantly builds a library in this district, so we're going to go ahead and take that.
Yes, please.
We do already have a library here in Seoul, so we're going to move this down.
So she's going to commute to
And
Gongju.
we do,
Yep.
I think, we're on the builder. That's why I don't have the teleport.
Got to move the builder
So
on.
now we do.
I like the idea of there being like a roadblock. She was like, let me through.
Yeah,
and the builder's
right.
like,
She
I
gotta
gotta
wait
work.
for the flagger. He's like, yeah, go through. Come on.
I'm going to move this archer over because we have some barbarians.
So you've been visiting in the studio the last couple of days. There's a road south of here that they've been doing construction on, and there is frequently a flagger there, and we do get a unit stack through that particular pass, trying to get down to get lunch at the mall.
Yes, the first day that I came up, there was like a huge curve, and everyone was parked. And I was like, "What's going on?" And I just saw a dude with a sign just going back and forth, letting people through.
Yeah.
So we are 1 turn away from our first classical era technology. So before we end the turn, I have plopped a wonder here just so it's locked in, but I'm going to switch this over to campus research grants.
Okay.
Nice one.
And we will do that here as well. Oh, no, I don't have a campus here yet.
I was going to say.
Down here.
Try again. Nobody's got tenure
3
there.
turns. So we actually want to delay this until that's done. So let's go ahead back to our tech tree.
Okay.
And we are going to switch to sailing, which only is
it'll take you
1
one
turn.
turn.
But we can start research on something else after that.
Okay.
And just delay this until we're ready. So we're gonna go as long as we can here. We'll switch this back to a Temenonki.
Ooh, if you can get Edamananke in that city, I think that would be really, really nice.
It would
there's
be.
some good
Yeah.
floodplains there.
However, we do have 8 turns on that. I'm not sure if we want to try to delay that long, but we'll see.
You'll be able to drop Hypatia in and have her do her thing, which
We
will
will,
help
yes.
as well too. So
Oh, that's true. You're going to get the library instantly, and then those are going to double the culture.
Correct.
Oh
Yep.
man, I can already see how fun this Civ is going to be to play.
But this is a great example of like how you need to do the micro for Sejong, that, you know, making sure, especially at some high skill play, that you're lining up all of those pieces so that they drop at exactly the right time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think multiplayer, people are going to have a wild time with this because you're not only are you trying to optimize, you're racing against the clock. So you've got like 90 seconds to lock in all your science before the turn goes
Oh
over.
my gosh, I'm getting anxious just thinking about that.
Yeah,
That
I
sounds
think
terrifying.
That's going to generate some really clippable moments of people missing like 100 culture through a misclick or something.
I see you've watched me play before.
It's usually me. I always forget about my social policies.
So we're going to come over here to recorded history next and get that natural philosophy policy to boost our unique campuses. And this will boost here in just a moment because we're going to finish that second campus. So hopefully that won't take us too long to finish researching.
Now, I think you'll basically get that instantly the second you pop commercial
Yes.
hubs.
So Sean was telling me that if you play this outright, that you're going to end up with the first tech in each era providing you about as much culture to get an entire civic's worth of culture for that.
Yeah.
That if you play this well, it's like, hey, free culture for doing this.
So it is almost exactly like just getting a free civic. Like
It should be about
if
that,
you're
yeah.
optimizing and you're playing well, that's quite a bit more powerful than I thought. Because I thought you might get like half or a third to like maybe a good amount of a civic. I didn't think you could get a full one.
We just went to 21.4 now that this district finished. Let's go ahead and do our bonus libraries.
Ooh,
now we're
26.
26.
Don't forget to lock in your specialists too before the turn
Yeah, we
rolls
will.
over.
We'll lock in the specialists, and we're going to make sure to move our citizens working tiles around so that we're working all of these mines.
All right, so Ray Nightshade from YouTube asks, what are the best beginner civs and leaders? This is a common question and a great one as well.
Yes, I actually get asked this question all the time, and my answer is usually the same. It is Trajan of Rome, because you start with a monument in your capital city. It gives you a really strong start. Every single one of your cities starts with a monument, so it gives you that little safety net that you don't have when you're playing other civs, and it requires no effort from the player to actually take advantage of that bonus.
Nice. So here comes Theodora, strong contender on the hat meta.
Yeah,
For sure. We're going to have to redo the hat tier list, I think.
The good news is Ludwig will not cause us to reevaluate the beard meta, which is, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So.
We need to switch off with Celestial Navigation because we're one turn away from that now. So let's go ahead and go to Ironworking.
I like the idea that you're like buttering up all these
Yeah.
tech.
Then we're going to just roll through technology for a bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea that the texts are coming in waves, rather than trickling in one by
Right.
one.
The publication cycle just backs everything up. All the research is done. You've submitted it to the journal. You're just waiting at this point for the issue to publish.
Actually, speaking of Petra, I feel like the city of Jinju, depending on where you put your sail on, that could be a super fun Petra city because you have
absolutely.
a ton of desert there.
Yeah.
You might not be able to get to it, but I think it would be worth
I
trying.
think it goes right here because
Yes.
then we can surround it with mines and farms and get a lot of extra yield off of that.
Yeah.
Are those floodplain desert tiles?
No, they're not.
If only with that Edamananke.
Yeah, we won't be able to put the farm, but that's okay.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah, I think the science, especially if you get the Petra, you're going to have the extra growth, you're going to have the extra gold, and then the extra science from the mines. It'll be really, really nice. Although you do have a little bit of a barbarian problem to the north.
If I put it here, the same one here, we'll get 3 mines out of it. But actually, if I'm looking at it and I put it here, we can do, I think, 4 mines. Because this Seoul can work down here, or Jinju can work all the way over. But this one can be done by Seoul. So I think we could actually get 4 mines out of that.
Yeah, I think you can use the tile purchasing card actually to get that a little bit sooner. Thankfully, you have that plugged in still. I think.
I did just boost that back up. I have purchased a couple of tiles already. So let's go ahead and.
So we're 2 turns from Edamanake too. So it's going to be
are.
timing that
I
is going to be.
try to chop this. So which tile do you think I should be buying here? This one here, I'm not sure I can get 2, unfortunately.
Oh, actually, we won't get Petra done, so you may as well save your gold for something else.
Okay.
I was just thinking about that. We don't have. I'm always thinking about like, okay, how do we hit like the ultra late game,
Right,
you know?
right.
But we don't actually have the full span of the game in front of us.
I mean, we could send the safe home with you. You could play it out if you wanted to. Just be like, hey, you know. So Tommy Sjoberg on YouTube wants to know, when are we going to see a Carl versus Potato PvP match?
That's a great question. Maybe we can arrange something in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe when you like have a day off or something, or maybe you can swing it with your boss that you have. You know, you can do it during work hours. We can set up a PvP match.
That would be really cool.
Tell your producer you need 8 hours.
Or,
devoted
you know,
to,
if there was like some event that brought together a lot of the Civ streaming community, content creation community, that is like a big multiplayer game where people play head to head with each other, perhaps that's something that we could look at setting up to have me participate in if you know anything.
Oh. Like the Civ give?
Like the Civ gift. That's a great idea.
I'll get onto the
This kind
guys.
of strategic play is what you expect when you turn into people who are this involved with the Civilization franchise. So, all right. So
We're down on one turn
turn.
with ironworking. We need to swap off of that. We're going to go to shipbuilding next.
You're just gonna slow roll everything.
Yep, you are up to nearly 27 signs per turn. So you're
I think we're
looking
actually going to, because a Temenanki is finishing. I'm not even need to chop it out. So there's a Temenanki.
Yep.
very nice.
Let that Wonder
very
video
nice.
play. And this turn we are also getting Natural Philosophy to boost our Seowans. So I think we are ready to swap.
You know, the funny thing about the Wonder movies, I've seen them so many times that I skip them in my videos. And people don't mind if I skip them right away, but if I play it halfway through and then skip they get
Yeah.
like kind of annoyed at me.
Yeah.
They're like, why would you only show us half? You got to show us the whole thing.
All right, so let's see what happens here. Well, I do want to swap. I should have actually put this policy in. That's okay.
No, I think you timed it well. We're going to be able to demonstrate what we wanted to see.
Yeah,
so.
we'll leave that there.
Okay.
All right, so now we're up to nearly 40 per turn. Let's see what we can do here. We'll put in campus research grants.
again? Yep.
I usually just click the little sides focus button. I know.
This one here?
No, you see down the bottom right over the city banner? Yeah, you just click that and it'll work it.
Good point. And that I think we'll do the.
That'll focus on
That'll optimize it.
Here we
for
go.
that
Yeah,
particular
it puts
time.
all
and
the
then you
people
can just
in there.
unclick it. That's
Yep.
what I mean, you do you, but
I typically like to show off what we're doing for everybody. But we've got the expert
Oh, yeah.
in house today, so we'll go ahead and do it the right
From
way.
outside telling you how to use your interface. That's yeah.
We're going to skip chopping for right now. We
Okay.
don't want to chop out research grants. We'll go ahead and do that. This one here.
And switch that to research grants as
Switch
well.
this, and then we'll switch the production to research grants.
this
Okay.
is going to be a very nice turn for you.
And
So
here.
we-
Oh, right. I don't have a thing there, so I do need to pick something else. The Seowan is ready. Oh, I just swapped off of the tile purchase policy. That's okay. We'll do this, and
Yeah, you need to swap.
swap
Perfect.
that, and then put the Seowan
on
in
there.
here.
Yeah, that's nice. That's quite nice. That's quite nice.
Okay, I think
right.
we're ready.
So
Oh,
let's-
wait, hold on.
Hold on. Yep.
He's already established. Okay, we're good to go. But
You need, yeah.
we need a researcher.
Yeah. There you go.
Confirm.
Okay.
We're up to 45 science per turn.
So you still got to pick your civic. Yep. Can you pick one that like we can just obliterate, or are we just stuck?
They're
on
all at
those?
one.
Oh no.
This is a 2 turns.
Okay. So all right. So it is going to take us mouse over it again because I want to see how much
Yeah,
it's
well,
going
let me
to
go
take us
ahead
to
to
do
the
this.
tree here.
Yeah.
So we're doing mysticism, which is 26, and we're going to be making 90.
A lot. Yes.
Yeah, so we'll get a couple. Like this is 80.
You're actually making more than 90 because one of your yields hasn't updated yet. If you
Okay.
move a citizen around, it'll update it.
Okay.
It's like a little UI thing.
241 up here, so we're not quite that high, but these would be within reachable distance after
Could you
this.
one turn theology using a rollover?
Probably. Oh, yeah.
Let's
yeah,
try it.
for sure.
Do it.
All right, so we'll go ahead. You said move a citizen.
Yeah, because that'll show you the updated yield. Yeah, 52.
Oops, hold on.
Oh, now you got to click the button again.
There you go.
There we go.
52.1.
There you go.
So 104.
104 culture
Here
on
we go.
this next turn. Here we go.
Well, we got to actually switch this back first.
That would have been very
That would've been-
anticlimactic.
that would've been
It really would have.
okay.
I caught it though. I caught it.
job.
So
Yep,
we're gonna
yep,
we're gonna next turn and
Good
get
example of micro.
104 culture after Ludwig pops up here.
And here we go.
I'm getting attacked.
This happens to me
Here we
all the
go.
time.
Gotta wait for the barbarians. Blam!
So first, tech in the classical era.
Yep.
Finish mysticism, finish currency, and we're going to go ahead and open our tree here. One turn, one turn, one turn. Yeah, that feels good.
Gracious.
That's what we love to see.
That feels
Yeah.
good.
10
so we'll
turns
just
to
select
feudalism. That's
theology.
crazy. And that is how you Sejong the Great.
Yes,
in Civ 6.
absolutely.
That is amazing. All right. Well, I think that's a great example of how you use that ability to its best abilities. Let's take a minute and let's talk about our last leader, the one who's the wackiest,
Yeah.
Ludwig.
Ludwig II of Bavaria seems a strange addition to a pack of great builders. His passion for construction bankrupted his personal finances, and his most famous project, the fairy tale castle of Neuschwanstein, was not completed in his lifetime and placed him deeply in debt. And Neuschwanstein was one of his several such projects scattered across the Alps. Over budget, overthought, half-finished. Though he was proudly Bavarian, his reign saw his kingdom subsumed under the German Empire. He was an absolutist in an era of social reform and progressive revolution. His reign ended with his untimely and mysterious death. Though Ludwig's legacy as a builder is not the best, his dream of what could be inspired many. The inspiration for Ludwig's construction came from his romanticism, a fascination with a bygone era of swan knights, chivalry, dragon-haunted peaks, and enchanted forests. His dreams continue to inspire, and if nothing else, they remain true to his own vision, a romantic in an industrializing world, a gay man in a religiously conservative area, at least in his own imagination, modern-day knight in armor in an era of gunpowder and artillery, as he was often quoted as saying, "I wish to remain an eternal enigma to myself and others."
Come to our final civilization leader for the Great Builders Pack, Ludwig of Bavaria. And let's take a look at his abilities. Potato, this guy.
He has the wackiest ability, and it's also probably the most powerful. Basically, wonders, even if they're not finished, receive +2 culture for every adjacent district. I believe this is displayed in the city yield, and it will. I think it provides tourism after you research castles,
It
right?
does, yeah. When you hit castles, you'll get tourism from it as well.
Now, that's in addition to the fact that Germany can place extra districts, and they've got the Hansa, which will allow you to eventually finish some of those wonders that you've got placed down.
Right. Now,
But that's not the important point. The point is, you can just slap them down everywhere.
everywhere. They one turn, no production, and it works, yeah. But there's a little bit more to that tourism that I want to focus on. So earlier when we were looking at Theodora, we were asking, does Theodora's holy site get tourism from her culture yield?
Right.
And the answer to that was no. We were fairly certain. We confirmed that later. And the reason that I was a little unsure was because I was remembering the other part of Ludwig's ability. It's not just the wonders that get that tourism. He has all culture adjacencies provide tourism. So this is the adjacency for his theater squares. This is his adjacency for the government plaza. Anything that's giving him a culture adjacency, he gets tourism for. So that's particularly strong with him.
This is nuts.
It is
also,
nuts.
Let's just take a minute and accept the fact that he is not going to compete at S tier in the beard meta.
He will not.
It's just not there.
But if we're competing in sword hilt meta, then I think he will. And
He's
that's
also-
more like a trumpet, right? He could play that.
I mean, it's how do you get trumpet out of that?
I think
Bugle.
is he-
No?
So let's jump into the game and take a look at what we've got going on here.
All right, so we'll go ahead and jump right into a city to take a look at these yields. We have some wonders already built. So if I go into, oh, not there. I need to go into like a theater square. No? I had this earlier. I was doing this earlier today.
I think you've got it. You've got like great people coming up.
Hold on. Empire. There it is.
There it is.
I figured it out. Empire lens shows it. So if we look at our Empire lens, we can see right here we are getting +2 culture because the Hanging Gardens is adjacent to the city center. And down here, we're getting +4 on the Great Library because it's adjacent to the city center and the campus. Mm-hmm. And then down here we have Great Bath doing the same thing. Now somewhere, I think we have a wonder in production.
No, I think Sean was saying you could
Start
slapping wonders down and start showing it off.
All right, let's do that then.
White and Dirty TV on Twitch wants to know, does the tourism from districts stack with the normal tourism from that wonder?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if the wonder's finished. If the wonder's not finished and you're getting the, because that works even when the wonder is not complete. You do not get the tourism from the wonder because the wonder isn't complete, but you do get the tourism from the adjacency at that point.
Everybody comes and sees your big incomplete hole in the ground. All right, Matt Churchill from YouTube says, if you lose the wonder, does it still count, or does it need to have the tile in use?
That is a great question. So when you have an unfinished wonder, let's say let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have a couple of wonders here. We'll start building this one. It needs to be adjacent to something, so we're going to put this. That's a pretty good tile. I want to go right here next to the market because it's going to be the same adjacency bonus here. So if we put this here, go back to that Empire lens. Here it is. We're seeing +2 culture here. Now, I'm going to switch off to a different wonder. I think we had Apadana available as well, so we'll start working on that one. And this will sit here with 0 production in it, and it will be giving us 2 culture per turn. If this was in the middle of a whole bunch of districts, it will be 2 culture for every single district. Yep. If somebody steals that, this goes away and I lose that culture, but until that time, I am gaining that culture every single turn.
Yes.
Yeah, I think playing Ludwig is going to completely change not only how you plan your empire and your districts, but also like how you plan your chops, because you don't want to put your wonder down on your chops and stuff like that. There's so much potential optimization and maneuvering that you can do, especially because the city center counts as a district.
Right.
You put the wonder next to that. It's like having a free monument on every single one of those tiles.
Absolutely. I was right. We did have an in-progress wonder. We got Apadana already started.
Oh, okay. Right.
So it was just hidden right behind the city banner there, so I couldn't see it. But if we zoom in, yeah, we can see it. But yeah, we are getting that on all of those tiles. We can see in that production lens there. We now have Imhotep who can rush a wonder. I think maybe we come over and do Kilwa because I like Kilwa better than Apadana personally. I think that's going to be the better pick here. So we'll switch actually back to Kilwa, come over, rush that production, and keep working on Kilwa and just let Apadana sit here. And if Apadana gets stolen, that's fine. We get that 2 production anyway.
Find some other wonder to put down there.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. So are you just going to start slapping down every wonder that you can right now?
Yeah, well, actually, let me come down and look at... we've got them all slapped.
Okay.
At least in those cities. Can we slap one here? We can. Petra, Jebel. We can't buy Jebel yet.
It's also not adjacent to a district, sadly.
You are correct. We want to put our market here, so that's not a great spot for it, actually. We need to put this here. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, look at your floodplain there.
Oh yeah,
I didn't see. That's
a great bath.
insane.
We got some amazing faith yields here. We do have a whole bunch of pillaged tiles, so we are building a builder to repair those. So I'm going to hold off on putting a wonder down here just because we can't afford it yet. Next turn we will be able to. And let's see what we can do up here.
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing about Ludwig is it takes what is normally like a production-y, science, domination-y civ and turns it into a tourism civ.
Yes.
But like a weird tourism civ.
Yes, that breaks rules, which again is the most fun way to play the game.
Yeah. So Da King in Da Dorf on YouTube says, Potato, what's the one mechanic you feel is still underutilized?
Ooh, there's probably a couple of candidates, but I think the best one is probably the specialist system. Like the specialist system is in a good and interesting place when it comes to power level, but I think there was potential there for maybe like a wonder interaction or maybe a card interaction that wasn't fully like explored.
Okay. Well, the good news is now you can't leave until you implement it. So we look forward to having you join us for a little while. So, all right. So
let me see who's working this tile. I think it's Aachen. Yep. We're gonna go ahead and chop that.
Where are you sending that builder?
I'm not sure. We'll figure it out.
You were quite marching to the beat of your own drum, as it were. So I was talking to Sean, and he said Ludwig could actually be kind of a fun civ to play as a beginner, because you can place and cancel as many wonders as you want.
Yes.
And it's still going to give you some culture for doing it.
Absolutely.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, I think maybe Ludwig will kind of start jostling for that spot with Trajan, because it's essentially free yields. You know, you don't have to work that hard to get them.
And it's already on top of a production-heavy civ, so you're already strong in the production game, which yields a lot of different ways as well too. And now you've got some culture. Interesting.
Yeah, I think there's huge potential for Ludwig. I think of all the civs, for when I go back and I start, making my own videos, I think Ludwig is probably going to be the first guy that I try out, just because his abilities, well, I mean, they're going to work so well on YouTube thumbnails.
Which is, of course, a good way to judge him. So, culture victory, domination victory, like Germany goes a lot of different science victory because you got all the production for it.
You are missing without it being Frederick Barbarossa, you're missing the free military policy card slot, which hurts. But you are gaining so much culture. I think that he definitely leans more into the culture victory than he does into the military domination victory, like Barbarossa does.
Yeah, with all that production, you're going to be able to get a ton of tourism from wonders, especially because you get the adjacency from your districts on your wonders, which is typically a fairly minor part of your culture victory, but it would be fairly significant playing as Ludwig, just again because he has so much production and he gets extra tourism from his wonders.
Right. I would just unlock monarchy, so we're going to go ahead and swap into that.
Okay.
I think monarchy is one of my favorite governments.
It's great.
Because it's so thematic. You get the diplomatic favor when you build your Renaissance walls, which lets you go crazy in the World Congress or selling the Diplo favor to AI.
AI does like buying some Diplo favor. That is for sure.
Yeah.
So we've got a question from Lars Mars on YouTube. Do the district have to be completed to provide the bonus?
The districts do have to be completed to provide the bonus. I'm fairly certain. We actually can test that here in just a moment.
Yeah. Sean, actually, Wilson says that yes, they do have to be completed.
I thought that was the case.
How much craziness do you want? I mean, seriously, are you not entertained? It's
We have to put in the production towards wonders, of course.
Yes, of course. Although, wait, you're playing Ludwig. Are you actually going to finish a wonder?
I mean, we do want to finish some. They stay around longer that way. It's great being able to cheat the system and get them even when they're unfinished. It's just longer turns in that circumstance. But I do think we want to be finishing them. We do want castles. That'll start giving us tourism. So I'm going to go ahead and swap that.
I have a friend of mine who can never make up his mind which wonders he's going to build. And so I think he's going to love Ludwig because he can just put them all down and then swap between them and try to figure out which one he's actually going to finish.
Qin Shi Huang AI is going to absolutely loathe you when you're playing as Ludwig because you're going to accidentally complete wonders that you had no intention to finish.
True.
And let's see, Ursa Ryan says, what do you think will be the best wonder to build for Ludwig?
Ooh, that is a hard one. I think the classic is always pyramids, just because it gives you such a huge upgrade to your game. Mm-hmm. Well, no, I take it back. It's got to be Mausoleum, because you get that extra charge on your engineers. You've got the Hansa, which gives you great engineer points, especially...
You already used that answer, you have to use a different one.
It's got to be the Mausoleum. If I have to use a different one.
Venetian Arsenal?
Yeah, it's got to be the Venetian Arsenal then. That's got to be the... Oh, that lets you get double submarines in the late game. Yeah, actually, that works really well.
Cool. There you go. There you go. All right, DJ Chifolo on YouTube says, does the plus 100% theater square adjacency also double the tourism of the wonder?
Yes. So the way that card works is it's just increasing the adjacency. It's not just like a yield bump, it's actually increasing the adjacency itself, which is why when you do that policy for things like the holy site for Theodora, we're seeing the culture increase as well. Mm-hmm. So when you equip that policy, you are increasing your tourism as well as increasing the adjacency bonus.
Gotcha. All right, so we finished Kilwa in Munich. Are you going to go back and work on the Appendana, or are you going to be distracted for a little while?
I'm going to be distracted for a little while because, while we do have religious idols, we're getting 2 faith off of this copper here. I do really like the idea of putting a district down next to what could be 2 wonders. For a really nice bonus itself, it's +3 now, it'll go to a +5. but that will also provide a +2 bonus to each of those wonders. So I think we're going to go ahead and slot that in. Normally I go through all the hassle of chopping a little bit more, but we're a little condensed on time, so I'm just trying to get through content.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, sacrifices you have to make for the sake of the live stream.
Yeah, but I love the potential for Ludwig to get like super high adjacency on their theater squares, because again, adjacency yields is like one of the most fun things you can do.
Absolutely.
So I can see easily hitting like +9 theater squares, doubling that. That's 18 tourism.
Yeah.
And then when you get computers, you get environmentalism. That's going to be like 27 tourism. Yeah, it's going to be super, super fun.
So let's turn on our tourism lens here, and we can see that we are getting tourism from all these locations already, including, this is the unfinished wonder up here. It's currently 0 visiting tourists because we only just started generating that tourism, but we are now getting tourism from all of these locations.
That feels really early in the game to be generating that much
very
tourism.
early in the game, and it's fantastic. This is why Ludwig is particularly good at pushing for the culture victory instead of the military one.
Yeah. I hadn't considered how early that tourism will come online. I think maybe in certain game modes, certain setups, you could get a sub 100 turn culture victory if you super hardcore optimized it.
Yeah.
Which that's a challenge to anyone in the community. Try to get a sub 100 turn culture victory as Ludwig.
What restrictions would you put on that? Would it have to be like a Pangea map? Would it have to be like?
I think I would like to just see someone do it first.
Okay.
Obviously on a standard map size, don't do it like a 1v1, you know, like 6 to 8 players.
Yeah, no pushover, no pushover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So this is pretty straightforward. Keep building wonders or not as the spirit moves you. Keep making tourism for free by just doing things that you were planning to do anyway.
Yep, pretty
exactly.
much.
Conquer the world with bonkers architecture and interesting holes in the ground. So, well, this has been a look at the Great Builders Leader Pack. That is our next entry in the Civ 6 Leader Pack. So we've got a little bit of an outro that we're going to do for you guys so you can see the next DLC leaders as well. But it's been my pleasure to be joined today by Carl, who's been our driver. Carl, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Oh,
okay. And Potato, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
It has been a pleasure to be here. Dream come true. I just never thought this would happen, but I'm super happy it did.
We're
happy
to have
too.
you. Yeah. So let's put up that graphic with the next DLC leaders on there. Oh. And bring it back. So we've got our great builders. We are at Pack 5 right now. Coming up next are the rulers of England, Elizabeth I, an alternate version of Harold Hardrada, and Victoria for the Age of Steam. We'll have more information coming out about those on Civilization's social media. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Follow us at CivGame and various other places. Thank you so much for tuning into this stream today. My name is Pete Murray. It's been my pleasure to be your host today. Join us for our final stream on March 28th with Ed and Carl rematching each other as we bring it to a conclusion. We'll see you on the 28th, and we'll have more news then. Have a great day.